Give me 1 minute, thank you. Okay. I'm reading the New Testament, Philippians, starting from chapter 1. I'll probably read the whole thing. I believe it's about 6 chapters. Here we go. No, Shalom. Philippians 1. From Shaul and Timothy, slaves of the Messiah, Yah-Usha, to all God's people united with the Messiah, Yah-Usha, and living in Philippi, along with the congregation leaders and Shamashim. Grace to you and Shalom from God our Father and the Lord Yah-Usha the Messiah. I thank my God every time I think of you. Whenever I pray for all of you, I always pray with joy, because you have shared in proclaiming the good news from the very first day until now. And I am sure of this, that the one who began a good work among you will keep it growing until it is completed on the day of the Messiah, Yah-Usha. It is right for me to think this way about you all, because I have you on my heart. For whether I am in chains or defending and establishing the good news, you are all sharing with me in this privileged work. God can testify how I long for all of you with the deep affection of the Messiah, Yah-Usha. And this is my prayer, that your love may And this is my prayer, that your love may more and more overflow in fullness of knowledge and depth of discernment, so that you will be able to determine what is best and thus be pure and without blame for the day of the Messiah, filled with the fruit of righteousness that comes through Yah-Usha the Messiah, to the glory and praise of God. Now, brothers, I want you to know that what has happened to me has helped in advancing the good news. It has become clear to the whole palace and to everyone else that it is because of the Messiah that I am in chains. Also, my being in prison has given most of the brothers in the Lord confidence, so that they have become much more bold in speaking the word of God fearlessly. True, some are proclaiming the Messiah out of jealousy and rivalry, but others are doing it in goodwill. I'll read it again. I'm sorry. True, some are proclaiming the Messiah out of jealousy and rivalry, but others are doing it in goodwill. The latter act from love, aware that I am put where I am for defending the good news, while the former announce the Messiah out of selfish ambition, with impure motives, supposing they can stir up trouble for me in prison. But so what? All that matters is that in every way, whether honestly or in pretense, the Messiah is being proclaimed, and in that I rejoice. Yes, and I will continue to rejoice, for I know that this will work out of my deliverance. Yes, and I will continue to rejoice, for I know that this will work out for my deliverance, because of your prayers and the support I get from the Spirit of Yah-Usha the Messiah. It all accords with my earnest expectation and hope that I will have nothing to be ashamed of, but rather, now as always, the Messiah will be honored by my body, whether it is alive or dead. For to me, life is the Messiah, and death is gain. But if by living on in the body I can do fruitful work, then I don't know which to choose. I am caught in a dilemma. my desire is to go off and be with the Messiah. That is better by far. But because of you, the greater need is to stay on in the body. Yes, I am convinced of this, so I know I will stay on with you in order to help you progress in the faith and have joy in it. Then, through my being with you again, you will have even greater reason for boasting about the Messiah, Yah-Usha. Only conduct your lives in a way worthy of the good news of the Messiah, so that whether I come and see you or I hear about you from a distance, you stand firm, united in spirit, fighting with one accord for the faith of the good news, not frightened by anything the opposition does. This will be for them an indication that they are headed for destruction and you for deliverance. I'll read from here. Only conduct your lives in a way worthy of the good news of the Messiah, so that whether I come and see you or I hear about you from a distance, you stand firm, united in spirit, fighting with one accord for the faith of the good news, not frightened by anything the opposition does. This will be for them an indication that they are headed for destruction and you for deliverance. And this is from God, because for the Messiah's sake it has been granted to you not only to trust in him, but also to suffer on his behalf, to fight the same battles you once saw me fight, and now hear that I am still fighting. So funny, my speakers get louder when I do this. What is up with that? Alright, next chapter. Are demons real? I don't know. I get disrupted by them. A little more cannabis to counter. Chapter 2. Let me just quickly check how many. I think it's chapter 6 is the last one. Okay, it's even shorter. It's only 4 chapters. Quarter done. Okay. 1 minute, thank you. There you go. Philippians chapter 2. Therefore, if you have any encouragement for me from your being in union with the Messiah, any comfort flowing from love, any fellowship with me in the Spirit, or any compassion and sympathy, then complete my joy by having a common purpose and a common love, by being one in heart and mind. Do nothing out of rivalry or vanity, but in humility regard each other as better than yourselves. Look out for each other's interests, and not just for your own. I want to read that again. 3. Do nothing out of rivalry or vanity, but in humility regard each other as better than yourselves. Look out for each other's interests, and not just for your own. Let your attitude toward one another be governed by your being in union with the Messiah, Yah-Usha. Though he was in the form of God, he did not regard equality with God something to be possessed by force. On the contrary, he emptied himself, in that he took the form of a slave, by becoming like human beings are. And when he appeared as a human being, he humbled himself still more by becoming obedient even to death, death on a stake as a criminal. Therefore God raised him to the highest place, and gave him the name above every name. I'll read that again. 9. Therefore God raised him to the highest place and gave him the name above every name, that in honor of the name given, Yah-Usha, every knee will bow, in heaven, on earth, and under the earth, and every tongue will acknowledge. Oh my God. Sorry, my injury gets in the way all the time. Everything gets in the way. Therefore, God raised him to the highest place and gave him the name above every name, that in honor of the name given Yah-Usha, every knee will bow, in heaven, on earth, and under the earth, and every tongue will acknowledge that Yah-Usha, the Messiah, is Yahweh, to the glory of God the Father. So my dear friends, just as you have always obeyed when I was with you, it is even more important that you obey now when I am away from you. Keep working out your deliverance with fear and trembling, for God is the one working among you, both the willing and the working for what pleases Him. Do everything without kvetching or arguing, so that you may be blameless and pure children of God, without defect, in the midst of a twisted and perverted generation, among whom you shine like stars in the sky, as you hold on to the word of life. If you do this, I will be able to boast when the day of the Messiah comes, that I did not run or toil for nothing. Indeed, even if my lifeblood is poured out as a drink offering over the sacrifice and service of your faith, I will still be glad and rejoice with you all. Likewise, you too should be glad and rejoice with me. But I hope in the Lord Yah-Usha to send Timothy to you shortly, so that I too may be cheered by knowing how you are doing. I have no one who compares with him, who will care so sincerely for your welfare. People all put their own interests ahead of the Messiah Yah-Usha's. But you know his character, that like a child with his father, he slaved with me to advance the good news. So I hope to send him just as soon as I see how things will go with me, and I am confident in the Lord that before long I myself will come too. Also, I considered it necessary to send. Sorry, my injuries. Somebody's walking around. Also, I considered it necessary to send you Epaphroditus, my brother, fellow worker, and fellow soldier, the emissary whom you sent to take care of my needs, since he has been longing for you all and has been distressed because you heard he was ill. Sorry. 25 again. Also, I considered it necessary. It's becoming harder and harder to read any other language than Sanskrit. And what is that friggin' noise? Also, I considered it necessary to send you Epaphroditus, my brother, fellow worker, and fellow soldier, the emissary whom you sent to take care of my needs, since he has been longing for you all and has been distressed because you heard he was ill. Indeed, he was ill, close to death, but God had mercy on him, and not only on him, but also on me. Otherwise, I would have had sorrow piled on sorrow. Therefore, I am all the more eager to send him, so that you may rejoice when you see him again, and I, for my part, may be less sad. So give him a joyful welcome in the Lord. Honor such people, for he risked, I can't say risked because of my injuries, wow. For he risked his life and nearly died working for the Messiah in order to give me the help you are not in a position to give. Okay, the walking stopped. I don't know. I just, don't want to be targeted. Nobody wants to be targeted. Nobody. Not even the loneliest person in the world, in the entire universe, wants to be targeted. So yeah, I don't like being targeted. Give me any more drink after that. Okay. Where am I? Chapter 3. 2 more chapters. I just wish I got left alone. Leave me alone. almost done. Chapter 4 is short. Chapter 3. In conclusion, my brothers, rejoice in union with the Lord. It is no trouble for me to repeat what I have written you before, and for you it will be a safeguard. Beware of the dogs, those evildoers, the mutilated, for it is we who are the circumcised, we who worship by the Spirit of God, and make our boast in the Messiah, Yah-Usha. We do not put confidence in human qualifications, even though I certainly have grounds for putting confidence in such things. If anyone else thinks he has grounds for putting confidence in human qualifications, I have better grounds. Berit Milah on the 8th day, by birth belonging to the people of Israel, from the tribe of Binyamin, a Hebrew speaker with Hebrew-speaking parents. In regard to the Torah, a Parush. In regard to zeal, a persecutor of the Messianic community. In regard to the righteousness demanded by legalism, blameless. But the things that used to be advantages for me, I have, because of the Messiah, come to consider a disadvantage. Not only that, but I consider everything a disadvantage, in comparison with the supreme value of knowing the Messiah, Yah-Usha, as my Lord. It was because of him that I gave up everything, and regarded all as garbage, in order to gain the Messiah, and be found in union with him, not having any righteousness of my own based on legalism, but having that righteousness which comes through the Messiah's faithfulness. I'm going to read that again. It's long. So the righteousness from God based on trust. But the things that used to be advantages for me, I have, because of the Messiah, come to consider a disadvantage. Not only that, but I consider everything a disadvantage, in comparison with the supreme value of knowing the Messiah, Yah-Usha, as my Lord. It was because of him that I gave up everything and regarded all as garbage, in order to gain the Messiah and be found in union with him, not having any righteousness of my own based on legalism, but having that righteousness which comes through the Messiah's faithfulness, the righteousness from God based on trust. Yes, I gave it all up in order to know him, that is, to know the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of his sufferings, as I am being conformed to his death, so that somehow I might arrive at being resurrected from the dead. It is not that I have already obtained it or already reached the goal. No, I keep pursuing it in the hope of taking hold of that for which the Messiah, Yah-Usha, took hold of me. I'll read 12 again. Okay, I'm learning something. It is not that I have already obtained it or already reached the goal. No, I keep pursuing it in the hope of taking hold of that for which the Messiah, Yah-Usha, took hold of me. Brothers, I, for my part, do not think of myself as having yet gotten hold of it. But one thing I do, forgetting what is behind me and straining forward toward what lies ahead, I keep pursuing the goal in order to win the prize offered by God's upward calling in the Messiah, Yah-Usha. Therefore, as many of us are mature, let us keep paying attention to this. And if you are differently minded about anything, God will also reveal this to you. Only let our conduct fit the level we have already reached. Brothers, join in imitating me and pay attention to those who live according to the pattern we have set for you. For many, I have told you about them often before, and even now I say it with tears. Live as enemies of the Messiah's execution stake. They are headed for destruction. Their God is the belly. They are proud of what they ought to be ashamed of, since they are concerned about the things of the world. But we are citizens of heaven, and it is from there that we expect a deliverer, the Lord Yah-Usha, the Messiah. He will change the bodies we have in this humble state and make them like his glorious body, using the power which enables him to bring everything under his control. Last chapter. Let me just double check. Yep, last chapter. Chapter 4. So my brothers, whom I love and long for, my joy and my crown, my dear friends, keep standing firm in union with the Lord. I beg Evodia and I beg Syntyche to agree with each other in union with the Lord. I also request you, loyal Syzygus, to help these women, for they have worked hard proclaiming the good news with me, along with Clement and the rest of my fellow workers whose names are in the book of life. Rejoice in union with the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice. Let everyone see how reasonable and gentle you are. The Lord is near. Don't worry about anything. On the contrary, make your requests known to God by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving. Then God's shalom, passing all understanding, will keep your hearts and minds safe in union with the Messiah, Yah-Usha. In conclusion, brothers, focus your thoughts on what is true, noble, righteous, pure, lovable, or admirable, on some virtue or on something praiseworthy. Keep doing what you have learned and received from me, what you have heard and seen me doing. Then the God who gives shalom will be with you. In union with the Lord, I greatly rejoice that now, after this long time, you have let your concern for me express itself again. Of course, you were concerned for me all along, but you had no opportunity to express it. Not that I am saying this to call attention to any need of mine, since, as far as I am concerned, I have learned to be content regardless of circumstances. I know what it is. I have my friggin' injury, man. I know what it is. It is. Come on. I know what it is to be a monk, and I know what it is. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm sorry. One day, my injuries will be gone. I know what it is to be a monk, and I know what it is to have more than enough. I'll read it again. I know what it is. Oh, you freaking kidding me. I know what it is to be one, and I know what it is to have more than enough. In everything and in every way, I have learned the secret of being full and being hungry, of having abundance and being in need. I can do all things through Him who gives me power. Nevertheless, it was good of you to share in my trouble. And you, Philippians, yourselves know that in the early days of my work spreading the good news, when I left, wow, I just went dyslexic on that word. I said felt. Nevertheless, it was good of you to share in my trouble. And you, Philippians, yourselves know that in the early days of my work spreading the good news, when I left Macedonia, not a single congregation shared with me in the matter of giving and receiving, only you. Indeed, in Thessalonica, when I needed it, you sent me aid twice. I am not seeking the gift. Rather, I am looking for what will increase the credit balance of your account. I have been more than paid in full. I have been filled since I have received from Epaphroditus the gifts you sent. They are a fragrant aroma, an acceptable sacrifice, one that pleases God well. Moreover, my God will fill every need of yours according to His glorious wealth, in union with the Messiah, Yah-Usha. And to God our Father be the glory forever and ever. Āmēn. Greet each of you. What am I reading? Greet each of God's people in the Messiah, Yah-Usha. The brothers with me send their greetings to you. All God's people send their greetings. Am I reading it or am I just reading something else? I'm used to another translation, so maybe I'm subconsciously trying to inject that other translation into this one. Alright, 21. Greet each of God's people in the Messiah, Yah-Usha. The brothers with me send their greetings to you. All God's people send greetings, but especially those in the emperor's household. The grace of the Lord Yah-Usha, the Messiah, be with your spirit. Alright, that was a little tough for my injuries. I'm done. Thank you very much. No, shalom. Just gonna fix my title before I forget. Colossians. Okay, see you tomorrow. No, shalom.